All right, so there'll probably be a little delay, and then I think we're live, maybe. We'll see. Does it say I'm live? It says I'm live.
Once you pop up on YouTube, I might have to mute YouTube. So there might be some feedback real quick.
Yeah, okay. We're definitely live. So hello, everybody. It worked this time. Yesterday, I apologize. I had some technical difficulties. But today I got it working, and there'll be upgrades later. But at least I can share the screen now, and we can actually have a visual reference for what we're talking about instead of just speculating. I mean, everybody's already looked at all these pictures, but we still need to have a visual reference to what we're talking about. So, all right. So obviously, most people tuning in here know who I am. If you don't know, Detroit Spartan's a good friend of mine, and he's joining me, maybe reluctantly. I don't know. He seems willing to join in. And the reason I wanted Detroit Spartan here is because he's like my Rolex guru. So, so Mr. Detroit, yeah, what are you wearing tonight?
I got on one of probably my favorite Rolex, my Pepsi GMT-Master II on Jubilee.
Hard to top that, really. I will do my best to top that. I'm actually wearing a MoonSwatch in the Neptune colorway. So, yeah. The most affordable flex you can do, right? These are impossible to get, but it was only, what, $260. So
I dig it.
All right, so I'm going to add our good friend Craig into the stream as well. So here's Craig as well joining us live. So we hey Craig. So we have multiple perspectives, and we have I think we'll have plenty of topics as well. So Craig, we just did our wrist checks. I'm wearing a MoonSwatch in the Neptune colorway. Of course, Detroit is wearing his Pepsi on Jubilee. What do you got on tonight?
Actually, I have a new acquisition, Seiko. Weird, right? Seiko for me. SPB 240. Two-tone MM200, basically.
Okay.
That's sick.
Yeah, those are limited edition, I think, or special edition, I think, on that one.
Yep.
So what are you using for audio right now? Because it's very punchy.
I've got some
AirPods or headphones. Okay.
Yeah. I can switch to my muffs. Maybe those are better.
It just seems like the gain's really high, but that's fine. Maybe just whisper. So, all right. So here we go. Let's start off with Tudor. I don't want to start off with the big dog. Let's start off with Tudor. Tudor has some exciting releases. Let's see, we got about 50 people in the chat. I could give some shout outs real quick. We got, let's see, David Williams, Big Wrist is here. My buddy Watch Display is here. That's Scott, I believe. Danny's here. John Page. Let's see. Brave Sailor's here. Will Carey. Dustin Ray is here. He's recovering still. I will actually bring up, Dustin says something about the Pearl White Dial Doxa. That's an exciting release. I don't think people are really talking about. Maybe we can talk about that too. Wilson's in the chat with his wrench ready to pounce. We got quite a few people here. Tennessee Mike. Young Excellency is in there. It looks like Detroit Spartan's in the chat and on the live stream. That's pretty versatile.
I'm everywhere.
Right. He's everywhere, but nowhere. Okay. So obviously, I think right there on their homepage, right on Tudor's homepage, is the new Pro, they're calling it. So we can probably just start with that because I think that's one of the cooler releases of this. Did I click on that? Let me see. Discover this watch. All right, so we're discovering this watch. That's pretty cool. This is one of the things I like about Tudor is the price points. It's only $4,000, and I say only, and I know that might trigger people because $4,000 is a lot of money. But when you're talking, are we going to classify Tudor as luxury, entry luxury? I think $4,000 is pretty affordable in that segment.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So in-house caliber, COSC, true GMT. It's going to have a jumping hour hand, 39 millimeter. What are you guys' thoughts? We'll start off with Detroit Spartan. What do you think about this bad boy?
You know, I know in our little private group chat that I was pretty brutal on Tudor, but I have to look at things from a different perspective. And if you look at it, I kind of am very Rolex centric. So I think of, when I look at that watch, I think of my Explorer 2 and how much better it is. But if I was in that realm and looking at that price point, I think it's a really cool watch. I mean, it looks like a vintage Rolex. I'm not big on the thickness of the case for a 39 millimeter watch to be, what is it, 14.6 millimeter thickness. That'd be
it's a little thick. It's easily a double stuff Oreo.
Yeah, I'd be interested to try that on wrist, because that seems like it would be a bit top heavy. But if you're looking for a vintage GMT, I mean, I don't think you could go wrong with this piece for $4,000.
Yeah. Craig, what are your thoughts on this Black Bay?
I like it. I like it. Tudor's a great brand. Really, really getting into Tudor. Like Detroit Spartan said, it's got those old Rolex vibes. So anybody that was looking for that vintage kind of look, here it is. It with all the new technology. You can see the Arabics, not the Arabics, the lume plots there in the dial are awesome. The only, people have been clamoring for a Black Bay 58 case GMT watch. Here it is. But
This is it.
the only drawback is the thickness.
Yeah. I don't think I need to do that
clasp
thick
either.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a second, but I really wanted to point out this, and I don't know if much talk has happened regarding this. So this is similar. I've seen this in the Boulder micro brand, is pretty much the only one I've seen. This is basically called lume cast, where these indices are completely lume, and then they're applied to the dial. There's no framing of it or anything, so it gives it a really cool 3D effect. Absolutely love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yet it still maintains, like you said, that vintage vibe with those warm tones to the printing and the indexes, harkening back to the old original GMT offering. The other thing, we go back to the clasp. They don't really show it here, but we know what's underneath this. I think they call it the T clasp. It's basically, it has an on-the-fly micro adjust.
Yeah, it's similar to the Pelagos, but it doesn't have the spring portion, and it doesn't have the see-through portion of the clasp, which both things people have complained about.
Yes. Okay, so
I think there's a lot of people wondering if they're gonna if that clasp will fit on other Tudor watches.
Oh, it's going to fit the Black Bay 58. But it doesn't matter if it fits or not. Tudor is going to be so ramped up in production. It's not like you're going to be able to order that clasp for your Black Bay 58. It's not going to happen. It's going to take 6 months to a year, maybe. So
they can't even talk about the Black Bay Chronos from last year. I mean, how many people have seen those?
Yeah.
So
they're still trickling out and everything. Another exciting release is another GMT. This is the S&G for steel and gold. There is some solid gold on it, but most of it is capped gold. The first two links here are actual solid gold, and I can't remember what else. I don't know if the bezel and the crown are or not. I can't remember. But again, price point at $5,500, $5,550. It's not that much more money than the full stainless one, which Craig, you actually picked up, I think, right?
I did.
Yep. What are those? Those are like 47 or something. I can't remember what well, here's one right here. Oh no, 45. It's only 41. It's only 41.75. So with tax, you probably pay close to 45. So
that seems
I know that, right? Like, this is an older release, but this is a killer value. Like,
it's a killer watch.
And after trying yours on, I would, even with that new release one, I would still probably go for this one. That's just me. If you have a 7-inch or smaller wrist, then yeah, go for that newer one. But this guy here, I like the two-tone. It would have been nice if it was more of the rose gold colored.
Bingo.
I think this is a warmer yellow gold. It's not like a polished, shiny yellow gold. Kind of looks like a root beer. I don't know. What do you think, Detroit?
That's kind of the thing that would
So
would keep me from buying it. I want to see it in person, but I've talked to a couple folks that have seen it in Geneva, and they don't like how the yellow gold looks on the bracelet. So I'd have to see it. When I think of a root beer, I think of rose gold. So a yellow gold root beer, I don't know. There's something about it
Yeah,
that just
right there.
doesn't drive with me.
Picture. You're right. I'm sure it's a great looking watch, but in our mind, we're so already like programmed that it's supposed to be ever rose gold.
Totally.
What do you think on that one, Craig?
It's a shame too. For somebody that's looking for a root beer style or that feeling, this is definitely a more affordable option. But for those that really enjoy the warm tones of the rose gold, yeah, it's just it's like so close. But
Yeah, we got
it's
in the chat, we have a lot of people that are saying they really like it. So there's quite a few people that say they like it. Will Carey, over and over, actually. Let's see. I think Joe and the Badger said he likes it. So it's probably a great looking watch in the wild.
Don't get me wrong, I really like it. The yellow gold would be the only versus rose gold would be the only thing that would keep me from actually getting it.
Yeah, I don't know about the yellow gold. In our little group, we've had some knockoff root beers, and they've all had a rose gold tint to them, and they've all looked good. We've never really seen a yellow gold root beer, so I guess we have to see it in the metal first. But I'm skeptical based on these pictures. But
so if you look at this one right here, and the only thing that really ruins this, or if we're going to be in the camp that it shouldn't be yellow gold, is this half of the dial. If they would have done this in full black, I think it would have looked great.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. Black and yellow gold is a phenomenal combination.
Yeah. All right. So how do I go back? Let's go back. All right. Bear with me here because I'm trying to navigate this website. Okay. Here's another, but they didn't see now the black and the gold in the stainless works here. Quite a bit more money, but it's the chronograph and it has the BL1. They're calling it the MT5813, but it's really a Breitling BL1 chronograph movement that they worked over. So 7250, and I don't remember. Obviously, the non-gold one's going to be a less money, which they don't have in this segment. But
I think basically this is just updating this steel and gold model that didn't get the updates from the 2 Black Bay chronos that were released last year.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, there's more to it than that, but essentially, yeah, they did have a Black Bay chrono S&G. It just didn't have the BL1 in it.
Yeah.
So they brought it up to speed with the Panda and the Black Dial one, which in our group, I don't think any of us own a Tudor chrono right now, do we?
No, we've been
waiting.
Surprisingly, we've been waiting. I'm sure we've had options, but to get the exact combination we wanted, we've had to wait. But I've heard from a couple people that have seen this in the metal that the champagne dial is phenomenal, and they're a real big fan of this particular piece. So I'm excited to see this one actually.
So would you upgrade if you were already waiting for the Panda? Would you say, forget about the Panda, I want the champagne dial?
Boy, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, those Tudor releases from last year were just stellar. I mean, it's hard to Hard to say that. I'd have to see them both side by side to give a real definite opinion on that.
Okay.
I think I'd still be more inclined to get the black dial with the white subdials from last year versus this.
Yeah.
Again, it's just a yellow gold thing. It's not that I'm against yellow gold. It's just that I don't. I would rather have a rose gold if I'm going to get something, and then I'm probably not going to have a bunch of gold watches in my collection.
Not till you retire anyway, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
Okay, now I really messed up. What else was in the Tudor lineup that was? Oh, there was a bunch of other little things like these. They added the 39 millimeter, and if you notice, none of these have the smile dial, so they all went with the in-house movement, but only in the two tones. The full stainless ones still have the smile dial, so I believe they're using the Salida movement, maybe an ETA, but probably Salida. What else? There was more releases, I thought, from Tudor, wasn't there? Let me go back to the. There was some new Tudor Royal. They didn't do anything with the 1926, I don't think.
No.
I think they were hoping more from the 1926 line, and I think the sales aren't that great on it. So they should be. I think it's a great watch. This guy. But shockingly, none of us have a 1926, and it's look at the price points on them; they're just crazy good.
Yeah.
Didn't we see some of those when we went to the Tudor event last?
Yes.
Yeah.
These are the smaller ones. Where's the larger one? Okay, so here's the 41s. I mean, that's a great looking dial, the silvery with the gold, but I really liked the blued hands one, and I think I would go with it on the leather strap. I mean, this is an older release. We're not talking newer release here, but that combo right there for under $2,000, that's a killer watch.
Yeah, I agree. Those blued indices and hands, and with that dial that's a great piece for $1,900.
Yeah. All right. Let me read a couple of comments here. I don't know if you guys can see the comments at all. If there's anything you want to address. Thumbs down on the root beer. Neff says get it on the strap. I think it does look a little bit better on a leather strap or something. It looks really warm. That's referring to the two-tone. Will Carey says no on the chrono. Stay with the Panda. Let's see. Somebody says they want more red dials. Yeah, you don't see a ton of red dials in watches, that's for sure. Scott says Tudor and Rolex so boring this year. I don't know about boring. It's maybe, I mean, I don't know what would not be boring. I think there's some killer models released. So let's jump over to Rolex. I think there's way more to talk about here just because they're the everything revolves around them essentially. So yeah, it's Rolex. All right, so let's start off with Air King. It's the first one on the list. Okay, and I suspected they were going to do this off the pictures they leaked to us. I honestly was thinking they were going to do a different dial though, because the Air King goes back a ways, 77 years or something like that. Didn't you say, Detroit?
Yeah, it's 1945, I believe.
Yeah, something like that. But really, I mean, what they do here, it's a totally different case, different bracelet. It's a totally different watch. Literally nothing remains from the old watch. Even the dial, it looks like the old one, but it's a larger dial. It has loomed 369. The hands are larger. What else? Oh, they added a 0, and the printing of all of the non 369 markers is actually raised up, not loomed, but they're just raised up. It's like a built up print. So totally ground up watch. Nothing remains from the old one.
It's funny when we went to pick up yours, everything I wanted to see in your watch, they did it. I mean, from the the more balanced dial to the 369 being loomed, to the better class. I guess I could care less about the crown guards, but the 72-hour power reserve, the better movement. I mean, I know they didn't give you the dial you wanted, but they made this watch a legit sports watch and something that I'd consider buying. Before it wasn't on my radar, now it's on my radar. I think they really did everything they possibly could to improve it.
You might actually get an Air King?
This Air King, it's still not going to be at the top of my list. My list is a little ridiculous these days, but it's on my radar now to where before I wouldn't even have considered it. But just look at that. That loom is just so much better than how it was before. That's cool looking.
It's a way more versatile watch, 100% like full on sport watch. It's like say I was gonna buy, my son's graduating college, and say I was gonna, like, I had the money, I don't, but say I had the money and I was gonna like buy him a Rolex, this is the one I would buy him. Because he's an electrical engineer, he's going to be working in that field. This is it. This is the one.
Yeah, I think it'd be a phenomenal graduation gift for your son, and it just I think it's a great piece. Now it's really, I know a lot of people like to nitpick this release and say, oh, it's boring or this. I think the Rolex releases in general are anything but boring, but this particular piece they did a phenomenal job on, in my opinion.
Yeah, they did raise the price. I think when I bought mine, the last price structure on the previous generation Air King, I want to say it was $61.50.
Wow.
I think maybe it was 64. I can't remember. It was not this much, so the price definitely went up as well. What do you think on this one, Craig?
I watched another video on this today. I think the Watch Advisor guy, he was talking about the price only going up like 200. That was Swiss francs, but I like it. The balanced dial, different case. One thing maybe that you guys haven't mentioned yet is the thickness actually went down from 13.1 to 11.6.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that has to do with the, because this the same case as like the Milgauss, which then had the Faraday cage. So
correct.
Maybe with the upgraded movement, with the anti-magnetic parts, different case. So I mean that's a significant, noticeable difference. And the case too. Maybe something that most people don't realize is the case on the new one here is more slab-sided versus the other one, was very rounded. So, maybe people will like it, or maybe they won't.
Yeah, so I would be curious to see, hopefully, Detroit, if you can work your magic or whatever. I'm not looking to buy one, but if one was offered to me, I probably would buy it. But if I were to at least be able to see it and then compare it side by side with mine, I'm very suspicious that this case might not be identical, but very similar to basically the new Submariner case. It just has a fixed bezel on it, because it's still, the bracelet is a 21 millimeter and tapers down. There's a lot of things that look very similar to the sub case. I don't think they recycled that. I think it's probably a little bit different. Rolex doesn't recycle cases. I don't think I've ever seen them do it where they take a dive case and make it a non-dive watch, but I don't know, they could. That's done in the industry from other brands. I don't think Rolex would do it, but maybe they would. And I think you're right. The price actually was $71.50 or something like that. It was like 71 something before, so it did only go up a couple $100.
Yeah, I think you paid like $71.50, and you're right. It's more of a Submariner case, and I have no doubt we'll be able to see it, so we'll be able to compare it once one comes in. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, if nobody else wants it, obviously I'll take it. But it does say a 40 mil case, but listen, like I've measured the sub. They say it's a 41. I've measured it every which way. Like you have to get creative to hit that 41 millimeter. It's more of a 40 millimeter case. That's why I'm saying I feel like this might actually be a Submariner case with a fixed bezel, because then they have the same movement, and that's why it's so thin. Is because they ditched that Faraday cage. They don't have that extra material inside the case. It doesn't need to be that robust. It's also going to be lighter.
And that cage really isn't necessary with the new movement.
No,
Yeah.
no, it would be completely unnecessary. It's old technology.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't bring over the Milgauss line too and upgrade both lines.
I think they
Gotta
will. I
save
think there's
something for
a
next year.
yeah. I think there's an anniversary next year for the
Oh,
Milgauss.
oh, okay, okay. So I mean, you're going to see a Milgauss in this next year, and I pray that they bring a white dial. I would love to see Milgauss brought over. Maybe even keep the Air King in this new this new style. They'll do awesome with it. But give me a white dial in it, and I'm all over it, because then it can coexist. I'll have a black old dial and a white new dial.
That'd be cool.
Dirk's not liking the crown guards.
Give it time, Dirk. Give it time. It'll grow on you, buddy. I'm telling you, it will. I've already been like on a roller coaster with this thing compared to mine. I'm like, because maybe I could upgrade, but I'm like, but I don't want to get rid of mine, and I can't have both, and so I'm just like, I finally settled on the camp of like, I'm keeping mine. Like I'm not buying this. If they give me something different, then I'll do it.
I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised when you see it. I've watched a lot of streams where guys are like, "Oh, all they did is add a 0 to the 5," but it's a completely updated watch, from the case to the clasp to the dial to the crown guards, like everything about it. I think once we see it in the metal, you guys will be impressed with it.
Yeah, those people are absolutely bonkers. This is 100% completely different watch. There's literally nothing the same on this watch as the old one, other than that the dial looks like the old one, but it's not even the same dial.
Exactly.
All right, let's go back to, let's see. What did I do? Let's go back to home.
Menu.
Okay. Oh, man. I might not be able to say anything on this one. So I'm gonna Detroit. Why don't you just, like, seriously? I can't say anything on this one. Detroit, you're just gonna have to talk on this one.
So the first thing they told journalists and ads as they went into the Rolex setup at Watches and Wonder was, this is not a watch made for people that are predominantly left-handed. It's a watch that's supposed to be worn on left or right wrist. So that's one thing that
Okay.
I guess is kind of a sticking point. I've seen people mention like, oh, it's only for left-handed folks and all this. I guess that's something they mention as soon as you walk in, that it's supposed to be worn with either wrist. But I just love it. I've been waiting for a green bezel GMT. I love green watches in general. Green is kind of the color of Rolex. I think when they initially put out that ceramic bezel GMT that was black all the way around, they couldn't get the process down to do 2 coats on one bezel, so they ended up doing it a full black with a green GMT hand. And I think this is the watch they wanted to do from the get-go. And I don't foresee this running for a very long time, so I think it's going to be a phenomenal collector's piece too, long term. I've also seen people complain about the date being on the left side of the dial, but if you are wearing it on your right hand and it's under a cuff, you're going to want the date on the left side, so it makes sense. But would I prefer it to be just like my Pepsi or the Batman or root beer? I guess sometimes the crown digs into my hand, so I don't really care. I love the colorway, and I as a collector, I like the uniqueness of it as well. I think that's like a really cool thing that Rolex is. I think they might have done once back in the day, but it's something that they never do. So it's on my list, and
Why can't I click on where's the thing where I can click on where it has the price and stuff?
yeah, it's a little more expensive than
Well, like I can't even find it. Like, where's it?
uh,
I don't. Rolex website seriously like baffles me. Oh, there it is. You got to like scroll past it, like their little display. So it's
yeah, there you
11.5. Would you do Oyster or Jubilee? Because you can get it on Jubilee.
go. Oyster. The only GMT I like on Jubilee, and I don't foresee this ever changing, is this piece right here. Like it just
Yeah,
this piece was released for Pan Am Airlines with on a Jubilee bracelet. It was just meant to be. The Batman was released on an Oyster. It's more of a masculine look, and I like this watch without a doubt on an Oyster as well.
yeah. You know what? I think you're spot on with the fact that people are definitely speculating, and I think it'll be reality that this is going to be a short-lived run. I don't think this is going to be. I mean, I don't know how long the black on black was out, but this one might even be shorter than that.
Yeah, that had a decent run. That was probably close to 10 years, but
Oh, it was.
I think
Okay.
this might only be a year or two.
I could see that.
Unless they decide to release one with the crown on the other side, but who knows? It's hard to predict what Rolex will do.
Yeah. Craig, what do you think on this one?
I give Rolex kudos for doing something so different. With the left hand drive. I do like the colorway. The black and the green I think looks good, but it's just not something that would move me to want to try for it. I think for me there are other GMT models that I would go for first, but it's not it's not a bad looking watch at all. It's just I would kind of maybe say quirky with the left hand layout. I don't know that
Well,
I'd.
so most people are saying it, and I say it too. Like initially I look at it and I look like it just looks like it's upside down.
Well, I mean, there's two different. You could make it a right-handed, right hand drive watch by you need a different date wheel and you need a different
Yeah,
dial.
yeah,
But you know,
yeah. Well, so there's people saying that they just like, well, they just spun the case and stuff. Well, I'm like, I think it's a little more involved than that. I think there's some other things that have to happen. Obviously, you have a different dial, you have a different date wheel, but there might be some different internal things too. I don't know.
without taking the case back off, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
I think they just literally rotate the movement, and then the date disc is a different disc, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from the function point of the watch, I think that would probably do it. But has anybody messed with the crown? Is it still like righty tighty lefty loosey, or did they? If that is different, then they did way more
Yeah.
to the
Yeah.
movement.
Yeah.
So the best thing about this watch for me is I know that Detroit is excited about it. So I will be able to get to see it in the metal, and I will be able to get to video it, because otherwise I don't know when I would be able to.
Yeah, I think we will be one of the first to have hands on this watch in the country.
Hey, so because you got your finger on the pulse of that, like how quick do you think some of these new models will actually start to two things? How quick before we can see like the exhibition models, and how quick do you think we'll start to see uh, you know on wrist? Like when do those actually happen?
It's funny you asked that because I was texting with my AD as he was in his appointment with Rolex, and he made a comment to me because I'm already because of some other things that have went on with allocations. I'm already kind of at the top of the list for this piece, and he was saying just hold your horses though. We don't have any in stock yet. And I kind of was surprised he said that, because usually with the new releases, we don't see them until the middle end of summer. I get the feeling with this particular piece, it's going to be a little sooner, but like with last year with the Polar Explorer 2, I was one of the first to get that, and I think that was September. So I think we'll see it.
Or Detroit's cut out a little bit.
I think we'll see it in early to
We might have
midsummer.
lost him. He's loading. There you are. I think you're back.
You got me?
I think it was just
Yeah.
you, Rob.
Oh, was it just me?
Yeah, I never lost him.
Okay, I lost him. So anyway,
I think we'll see it early to midsummer, and it sounds like they're going to be available. They're already built. It sounds like they're going to be shipping them faster than what their typical new releases would be.
okay. So Rolex is potentially gonna. I mean, they're not gonna like revamp their whole manufacturing process, but they're gonna try to like get things going as best they can. So let's see. Next up, Day-Date Platinum. They finally figured out how to do the bezel. This isn't loading. I might be having internet problems. Joy. So Detroit, you have a president. You have a Everrose Gold.
Yeah, fluted bezel president bracelet. The reason they never did a fluted platinum is because the metal is such a hard metal to work with. Like when they do the tooling for a gold piece, they can use that tooling like 300-400 times. When they do it with a platinum watch, they can only use like the bits like 3 or 4 times before they just dull them down and they're worthless. So to make a fluted bezel out of platinum is phenomenal. I think it's going to be a big hit, and it's kind of like a first in the watch world.
What, right. Nobody else is going to be able to replicate it. Well, I don't know if Rolex kicked me out. They were tired of me talking about them. Oh, he's got it right there. Yeah, that thing is crazy. Often I'll be hanging out with you or something, and you'll be wearing that thing, which is just an extremely cool watch.
If we get to it, hopefully, if we can show it, I'll have another one soon.
All right. So I don't know what's going on with my interwebs. That's kind of a bummer. I wanted to talk about more Rolex stuff.
Must be a sign from above.
I don't know. It could be me, but we can look at some comments here. Let's see. Check out the green Datejust 41. We can check that out. That's a cool colorway. Smooth bezel on platinum Day-Date looks better. That's what Wilson's saying. I don't disagree with him. I'm not a huge fan of fluted bezels, but I mean, it's kind of one of those things. Well, I don't know how I'm going to be able to get back on that. So, as I'm going to try to figure that out, this was another one I wanted to talk about real quick while I'm trying to figure out how to get back on the Rolex site. So this is a Citizen ProMaster mechanical automatic Diver 200 super titanium. This is a really cool release from Citizen. It's going to be coming out this summer. I don't know the price point on it, but you can get it in a black with a strap, or you can get a blue with a bracelet. Unfortunately, I don't know the price point on it, but you can see right here in this image, this was something that goes back for decades. They found one like encrusted in sea gunk. So they're like pulling from their history. Personally, I think it's a great looking watch. I'm hoping the price point isn't too crazy. I feel like I want to pick one of these up as long as it's not like thousands. If it's a reasonable price, I think it's a really cool looking watch. I don't know. What do you guys think on this one?
I think it's solid.
I
I want to
agree.
say I want to say it's a 40 millimeter, 40 or 41.
There's times where you'll bring down watches to my house where I'm just like, "What the hell is this? What is this guy thinking?" And then I see them, kind of like that Breitling GMT, and they're just beautiful. And I have a feeling this will be a good looking watch in the metal. And I know you're a big fan of titanium.
Yeah, yeah. I'm hoping it's just a reasonable price is all. Just if it's too much money, I'm just going to be let down. But I don't think Citizen's going to do that. We'll see. All right, let's see if we can get back in here. They might not like me anymore. It might be my internet's. But I can look at this stuff for some reason.
The Tudor.
I'd have to switch my hat again. Maybe it's my internet. That's gonna be a real bummer that I keep having these technical difficulties. And I have like the most internet I can get for my area too. So
Your son's not home, is he?
no. No, I think he's gonna come home sometime in May for like he's finished up with school like in April, so in a few weeks, and then he has a. All right, so
That
let's see
sucks.
here. Well, don't give up yet. I am pretty relentless. Yeah, it's not letting me do crap. That's weird. But yet the stream is still going. How can I not have internet? But I can.
Yeah.
Right. Detroit says I live in rural. I do live in rural. The one good thing about living in rural, though, like some of the areas around me that have never had internet, like we deal with like Spectrum and stuff like that, because of like grants or whatever you want to call it. Some of these people that would never ever get internet, they'd have to do like Dish or something like that, are now getting fiber ran to them. So because I live in an area where they actually had put cable in the ground, I'll be one of the last people to get fiber. If I were to live like super rural, I would be getting fiber right now.
A couple guys
Fancy.
in the comment section are saying that the Citizen is 41 millimeters, and there's two price points, $795 and $995.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
that's super affordable. Look, we're going
Yeah.
old school. Detroit's going old school. We're going to just look at pictures on the phone.
It's like the Rolex sales staff.
So what color is that dial though? It's hard. Is that a silver or champagne?
Ice blue,
Ice blue.
platinum, date.
Okay, that's killer.
A lot of collectors never thought it would happen. I mean, it is really challenging from a tooling standpoint. So it's cool. I mean, I don't know if you guys haven't, I can arrange it. But if you ever have held a platinum date or a platinum Daytona, the weight of it is just spectacular. So hopefully we'll get to see this one in the metal as well.
Yeah, for some reason I can't open another window, so I guess we're just we covered most things. I wanted to cover with the Rolex what got dropped as well. So like a couple of colors in the Oyster Perpetual 41 got dropped. The yellow, which I really wanted, but I'm not going to be able to get. The coral red got dropped. The Tiffany, or not Tiffany, what did they call it? What color was that? What Rolex called it, I forget.
Oh, what they call it, everyone calls it Tiffany. So
yeah, so that one got dropped. I don't know what that's going to do. The price point, it was already skyrocketed, so I can't imagine they're going to go up even higher than what they were. But yeah, they cut the OP41s down quite a bit, which, Wilson said turquoise. That's right. So, but I really don't care. I'm not an OP41 guy anyway. I just thought the yellow one would have been really cool. I could still maybe get the green one, which Rolex corporate green is really cool, so I like that colorway. But the reality is that I don't know that there's any Rolex in the lineup right now that I really, really want. I was looking before we started this live stream, I was looking at the white dial Milgauss, which was discontinued a little while ago. I'm like, I wonder what those are trending at, but I think those are around 13, 14,000. I think that white dial looks really cool. So I just hope maybe next year, maybe we get a white dial revamp Milgauss or a white dial Air King, and then I'm back in the game.
Yeah, next year should be interesting because it's gonna be an anniversary for the Submariner and the Daytona. But mentioning those OPs, so one thing Rolex did and discontinue them is they put out a couple more Stella dials that they didn't really. I mean, this is kind of behind the scenes, and if you look at this is solid yellow gold day date with a green dial, and it
Okay.
doesn't really look that cool in pictures, but if when you see it in a video or in the metal, it's like a glossy green Stella dial day date. And that's the other watch I ordered, and I think that's going to be one of the hottest watches Rolex has ever released.
Okay. So I got a super chat, 1999 from
Wow.
my buddy Jack. It sounds like he's just trying to be equal to what he super chatted Bruce or something like that. So thanks, Jack, for doing that. And I for some reason I cannot open up another window to share. So let's see. Mitch Maddox says Mark Goldberg made out like a bandit. Yeah, he was Nostradamus on that, right? He predicted that. He bought it. He overpaid for it at the time. Picked up a Tiffany or a turquoise 41 OP, and they're gone. That's it. It's going to be what it's going to be. So
Don't give him too much credit because Mark's lost his ass on some Rolexes in the past too, selling them too early. But
yeah,
it
he's
kind of
holding.
goes.
He's holding though. He's not selling them right now. So
Yeah, he's taken our old friend Blue Shirt Buddha's advice: never sell Rolex, and I think that's smart. And when you have an example of someone that bought at market value and it's doubled market, that's
yeah,
kind of impressive that you can still buy Rolexes at market. I'm not suggesting anyone does it, but the fact that you can do it and it still goes up in value is pretty mind blowing.
yeah. It's. I mean, you can look at history. It's pretty safe. I mean, the market could dip down, but I don't think we're there yet. Neff is saying that I think that one you showed would be kind of like the John Mayer day date of like the John Mayer
Yeah.
what do you call it? The Daytona, but in the day date. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Bill saying loves my reviews of the Shinolas. I don't really show a whole lot of Shinolas. I would like to show more, but I'm not buying them.
Wow.
So he picked up a 41 Runwell, so that's pretty cool.
Love it. Love Shinola.
Wilson saying, have you guys share your screens? I don't think you guys can. I think the host has to do it. I'm not 100% sure on that. Neff says he misses
I'm
Blue
working
Shirt
on an
Buddha.
iPad, so yeah.
Oh, Neff, I miss him too. It's funny. I was just listening to a show that Tim Masso did. I don't remember why I clicked on it, but it was an older one. And one of the first people that chimed in and then he gave him a shout out was Blue Shirt Buddha. And they're like, it hit me again. I'm like, God, we lost him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I mean, we all got to go at some time, but it's just the timing's never really good when it's at a younger age. And he really wasn't that old. So let's see. Neff has given props to Detroit. Says it's right. It's going to be the hottest day ever. So the yellow gold. It's yellow gold with the corporate green dial. Is it a flat green dial, or is it got a style to it?
It's more like a Stella dial, so it's like a glossy green, and it's gonna be interesting when you see it because in the photos it looks kind of boring, but when you see it in a video, Joey sent me a video of it, and it is like stunning. Like it, at first it wasn't even really on my radar because I was so focused on that GMT. And then I started looking at some of the other releases and I saw it. So I asked him about it and he sent me it. And I go, wow, like that. And I have the olive rose gold version, which is really hot right now. But I think this new version is going to blow it out of the water.
I'm going to disagree with you on that. I'm sure it's a really hot watch, but that one you're holding right now is like, I don't think you can top that. I love the Ever Rose Gold.
I'm not going to argue with you.
So
hype it up.
Hype it up. Just keep raising. I'm not in a position where I'm going to influence the price of any Rolex. Thumbs for Watches says, wow, almost 250,000 views on my Omega Q-tip test. He's referring to where I wetted a Q-tip and I rubbed the backside of this watch, and the Q-tip turned blue. I thought it was going to come from the decal, and then it didn't, and then I rubbed the case back, and the Q-tip turned blue. Now I've since rubbed like the whole case and everything, and I'm not getting any blue anywhere else. So I'm starting to suspect, but I'm not going to make another video because that one's performing really good. I'm thinking that maybe when they etched out the letters, they didn't really clean it very good, and I might have drawn out powder from the etching that they did on the words on the back. You know what I mean? It was just leftover from their milling of it. So because I can't get any it hasn't done it again. So, but whatever. I'm getting a lot of views on it, and it basically paid for the watch. So I'm just gonna let that ride.
It's funny. I've given you some crap about posting so much about it, but when you made that Q-tip one, and I was on Instagram, like every big, I don't know, watch influencer had posted a link to that video.
Yeah, it got like shared and shared and shared because I don't, my videos get like 3, 4, 5,000 views maybe. So when I got one that bust out 250,000 views, it's just like, whoa. That's like I mean, I wish every video did that, but that's unrealistic when I'm posting 2, 3 videos a day. Wilson asking about what do we think about the Breitling releases?
I think if you did like a Wilson reveal on your channel, that would get 1 million views.
Yeah, we could maybe set that up. I might have to pay him. I don't know if he would do it for free. I don't think he would do it at all, but the Breitling releases, hands down, the 41 millimeter Navi timer in that green with the white trim, beautiful watch. Like I would probably get weak if I had one of those in front of me. I would potentially try to pick it up. That thing is beautiful. I love that green for some reason.
See if you can pull those out.
Well, it's like it's almost like a minty green. It's not a dark green, the one I'm looking at.
Oh, I like the dark green, but I think it's only available in the 46. Not that I couldn't pull off a 46, but yeah. I think the Breitling under George Kearns has he's done a really good job. I think they've kind of toned down the bling, and they've kind of toned down the busyness on their dials. Things are a lot cleaner in terms of styling now, and I think it's appealing to more and more people.
It's funny.
I agree.
One of us, it might even have been me, shared pictures of it, and our good buddy Wilson, famous from the movie Castaway, was like, "Oh, I like the older dial better." And it's the first thing I thought is what Craig just said. This is less busy. This dial's phenomenal. So I think those releases are just spot on, and all the colorways and everything, they all look great. I might actually buy a Breitling like that. That was a great release.
But if you compare, we started off talking about the Tudors, and here's some food for thought. So we started off talking about the Tudors, especially the chronographs, and what the pricing was on those, and it was what, 4,500 ish for the non-gold. The Breitlings are how much?
Like $9,000 for a Navi.
Yeah, like double.
Yeah,
Shows
and
you what a
it's the same movement. It's a BO1 movement. So a
Yeah.
Tudor is a way more affordable way to get into the BO1 movement, hands down.
yeah, true bargain. And probably more water resistance too.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm a bit of a Breitling fanboy, so I mean,
I know.
but I also like it would be very difficult for me to drop 9K on a Navitimer. It's
Yeah.
just that is a lot of money.
Yep. Yeah, it's
I'm
easier to
sure.
do it on a 4500 Tudor. Plus, then you could wear it in the pool. It's got screwed-on pushers and the whole bit.
Yeah, but it's a totally different look. It's a totally different watch, so it's hard
True.
to say.
True.
I'm sure we could get a discount off them too. This is the one I like. It's a solid gold version.
That's why I love hanging out with you because you're like whatever watch I like, you're just like, let me see the solid gold version of it.
And it's funny when I first got into buying luxury watches, I used to see gold. I'm like, I'm never buying a gold watch. That's ugly. I like steel. Steel goes, with everything better. Da 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 da. And the more I mature and get into the hobby, it's everything I look at. I'm like, I wonder how that'd look in gold.
Yeah, one day, Oyster Flex. I want gold on Oyster Flex, and I'll be happy one day.
Yeah, I think the olive rose gold day date kind of ruined me.
Yeah. Jack's Watches EDC is referencing Neff. When is Chicago meet? I can't make the meetup in Michigan. So Jack was at the Michigan meetup, which is behind me, which we're coming up on a year. It was May 15th, 2021. We're doing it about the same time of year. We're doing it like May 21st, somewhere in there for
May
Michigan.
20th and 21st, yeah.
21st and 21st. Okay, so Jack is going to be busy with some firefighting training and stuff like that. But I will be in Chicago. It's not a Chicago meet, but I will be going to the Worn and Wound Wind Up Show in Chicago, which is July. It's the weekend before we're doing the Baltimore meet. So July 15th, 16th, I'll be in Chicago. If anybody's in that area and they want to just go to the Wind Up Show, look up Worn and Wound Wind Up Show in Chicago, and I'll be there. So
It's not in July, though, I don't think.
it's 100% in July. It's July. It's got to be July 15th. I would bring up another window to show you, but I just can't. Oh, okay. Of course, Jack's going to back out of that. I can't do July either. There's a lot of fires in July. Is that a Zenith?
Yeah, I love this one too.
I know I wanted to show the Zenith lineup too. I wanted to show the dock. So I wanted to show a bunch of stuff, but I'm having some technical. I'm shocked that I made it as far as I did before stuff went haywire. Let's see. Did you find it? Here's Neff. Neff is saying it was July 15th through the 17th.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, I'm going to San Francisco next month, April something. If anybody wants to go hang out in San Francisco with me, April 22nd, 23rd, I think I'll be in San Francisco at the wind up show as well. Never been to San Francisco.
Beautiful city. Might be a good time to mosey up to old Napa to visit our friend Mr. Werning.
It's a bit of a drive, I think, isn't it? No, it's not that far from Napa.
It's not that bad.
No, it's not that far. I won't have time though because I'm flying in Friday and I'm flying out Sunday. So these are like these blast trips. I just like to I just did the Vegas blast trip, and literally the whole trip was basically waiting in line for this watch, for this $260 watch. So
That's commitment.
it's a lot of things. I don't know if commitment is on the list of things that it is, but it was a random thing too because we had gotten a hotel room at New York, and we were just gonna like get up early and go down, but we went to the Swatch store to check it out beforehand, and we'd seen through the out towards the strip on the curb. We were like, there's already people in line. So I'm like, I'm going out there waiting in line. And Calico and Miss Calico were like, they're like, we're not doing this. We're not prepared for this. And I'm like, this is why I came here. I came here for this. I came here to get this watch. So I'm here. If you guys don't want to wait, don't wait. But I'm here. I'm waiting. But I wasn't prepared. I didn't have the proper clothing. I didn't have a chair. I didn't have drinks, food. I had nothing. We just like walked in and waited in line with no prep for 15, 17 hours.
It's funny. I was going to ask you about that, and I just forgot to. I had a feeling, based on how you were talking, that that's what you're going to do is get a room and wake up. And I had a feeling you guys kind of mosey down there just to check out, see if you could see a sneak peek, and then you kind of realized the line was already starting, and then just had to sit there till the next day.
Yeah. And when we got in line, so I was number 36. When we got in line, we were under the impression we were going to be able to buy two of them, right? And then shortly after we got in line, they posted up signage, and then Tristan, the store manager, came out and he didn't have a bullhorn, but he spoke loud enough for everyone heard. He was basically like, hey, they just changed it. It's one per person. So. Let's see. Neff says if somebody had offered a 1,500, so I was offered 1,500 for mine when I walked out. I physically saw two watches near me when I walked out, sold for a package deal for two watches because it was two people that bought one each. The cash buyers bought a package deal for $4,000. So $2,000 a watch, essentially. I mean, I turned down the 1,500. I was offered $1,000 cash for me to give up my spot in line. I probably could have got them up to 1,500. I could have just left, and I was only like a few hours into the wait. But at that point, there was already 150 people in line.
You had a reason, though. You have content off it. I see a lot of comments of people like, why wouldn't they take the money? The only thing I'll say to that, without going into detail, is people did take money. They're not stupid. Rob had a legitimate reason to keep his, and his videos have done fantastic since. So it's paid off for him. But other people did cash out,
Yeah, but to put it in perspective, like even with the big amount of numbers that I've posted, you're talking a few $100s. You're like, it would have still made more sense for me to cash out at 1,500. I won't make $1,500 in views on this. So, but seriously, I look at this watch on my wrist and I'm like, this is so freaking cool. And I was a part of history. I actually just negotiated a deal so I was number 36. I just negotiated with a deal with number 37. I'll probably share his name later, but he was right after me in line, and we talked all night long and hung out all night long. We were all communicating with one another. He picked up the Uranus, whatever you want to call it, the mission to Uranus, and then he put it on eBay, and it sold for like 17 something. The guy never paid, and we exchanged information. So I've been texting him, and I said, hey, how much if I just buy the watch? So we negotiated the deal, and I picked up the watch. I'll have it probably Saturday or Monday or something. I'll probably have it on like Monday. So I ended up picking up that watch. So I don't know. We took part of something that was like pretty crazy in the history of watches. Nothing like this has ever been done with watches. So, and I was there, and I got number 36, and now I just bought number 37. And at the Las Vegas show, number 37, that was the last Uranus watch sold. That was the last one they had. It only took to number 37 for them to sell out. There was a huge family in front of us that bought every one of those. I mean, you're talking about 10-year-olds all the way up to 90-year-olds. They had no idea what watches probably were. That there was a ringleader that gave them all cash and a note and said, "Go buy the Mission to Uranus." And they took a run on them. They bought most of them.
Do you know how many of each color the Vegas boutique had?
No, and I don't think it was even. I heard that there was fewer made of the lighter colored dials, whatever that means.
The tan ones.
Yeah, any of the
Saturn.
lighter colored ones, yeah, Saturn, Jupiter, even Mars, I think was a white dial. So, and at the point at number 36 that I was the first one to buy a Neptune. So up until that point, basically, you had seen Mars, Moon, Mercury, and Uranus sold. So there was only 278. So towards the tail end, those were the people that got Venus and probably Jupiter and Saturn. The kind of more of the dogs.
I had taken one of those Pluto, the burgundy and off white. I thought those were kind of cool.
That one actually looks really cool in person, and that was a tie to a full gold Speedmaster that was made. I forget what it was called, but it was a full gold one that they made a while ago. So, all right. Anyway, I'm going to end this broadcast because I screwed the pooch on this one. So, with internet problems. But Craig and Detroit, don't hang up yet. I'm just going to end the stream and then we're going to talk. So, everybody that chimed in, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
See you guys. Your computer's not liking you, Rob.
Yeah, well, I might break it over my knee in a second.
I don't know how
two
you can.
dogs in here with me, so.
How can you stream and you can't get on a?
It's still streaming, by the way. So hold on a second.
Oh.
My internet is giving me such problem that I can't even end the broadcast.
Yeah. Watchlown says you're still alive.
All right, whatever. I'm just gonna kill it.
That Wilson guy's a real pain in the ass, isn't he? Let's check the chat and see if he heard it.
He tried calling me. He says you're still alive. Maybe we have to leave too. All right. I'm gonna leave.
Signing off.
All right, signing off.
Psych, I'm taking over Random Rob's channel, boys. For the record, I would have took the Mercury and sold it immediately and then bought it online in a couple days.
How the hell do I end this thing? I super chatted myself twice? How does that happen? What is going on? I super chatted myself twice. You shouldn't even be able to super chat yourself. I can't end the live stream. I couldn't do screen sharing anymore. I had to log back on to just try to end the damn thing. Not the same with the loom finger. I have the loom finger right here. Oh, is that it? I had to end with a loom. Will I be able to end it now? Let me try to end it now.